In today's show, the trade winds are a-whirling. Are the Trailblazers really interested in Jonathan Kuminga? Plus, some stat oddities to know. Welcome to Locked On Blazers. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Trailblazers, your daily Portland Trailblazers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's up, world? It's your past first point guard and Trailblazers reporter Mike Richman. You are listening to another episode of Locked On Blazers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, available wherever you get podcasts and also on YouTube. Thanks for making this show your first listen, coming at you each and every weekday, Monday through Friday. So make it a part of your daily routine. Make it your first listen. Tell your friends to do the same. Locked On Blazers, your team every day. In today's program, the trade winds are a-whirling. We'll talk about basically a single line of reporting about the Blazers' potential interest in Jonathan Kuminga, why that may or may not be something they'd be interested in, and what a trade would actually look like. Plus, I went deep into the spreadsheets to pull out some interesting numbers to know about Caleb Love, about Donovan Clingan, and about Deni Avdija. Some stat trends that you will enjoy. So let's just get into it. We are a month out from the trade deadline. It is upon us. Usually most of the business gets done like the week of the trade deadline. Typically in the NBA, there's a trade right around now-ish, like late December, first week of January, there's like one deal that gets done. So I'm recording this in the early afternoon of Tuesday, January 6th. This is Wednesday's program. So perhaps this will become somewhat outdated by the time you listen to it, but boy, do I hope not. But we are getting closer to where some of the rumors are, they would have validity because the talks are real, because they really are like we're getting to a point where teams are really going to have to make some decisions in the next 3 weeks. That said, there is some reporting that is linking the oft left out Jonathan Kuminga of the Golden State Warriors, the player that they have wanted to trade for, I would say, probably 2 full years and certainly closing in on 10 straight months of actively hoping that they could trade him and failing to do so, connecting Jonathan Kuminga and the Portland Trail Blazers. This comes from a story published in Yahoo Sports, written by Kevin O'Connor on Monday, January 5th, and it includes the following line. It's basically, the larger story is about how O'Connor believes that there is no reason for the Warriors not to be in try-to-go-win-it mode. I don't think I agree with that premise necessarily, but that's the premise of the story in and of itself. And it includes, like how do the Warriors get better? And the way they get better is they turn Jonathan Kuminga into players that can help them win right away. It includes the following line. I will quote it verbatim. I'm actually going to quote you 2 sentences verbatim, and we'll break them both down in an effort to celebrate media literacy and all the ways that you can practice it each and every day. O'Connor writes the following. League sources told Yahoo Sports at least 3 other teams have been linked to Kuminga: the Blazers, Pelicans, and Wizards. Hypothetically, Portland has Jeremy Grant or Drew Holiday to realistically offer in a trade. Those are the 2 sentences. Let's take them one by one. First, I think the first sentence is straightforward reporting. Kevin O'Connor has heard from league sources that the Blazers, Pelicans, and Wizards have at least been linked, whatever that might mean, but linked, I would say that is like, could be a spot that could be involved in a trade, could be a landing spot for Kuminga from league sources. The Blazers, Pelicans, and Wizards have been linked to Kuminga. I think that is straightforward reporting. O'Connor is plugged in. I mean, he's broken some sort of I don't know. He's not like one of these like over the finish line type of newsbreakers, but he's I think in his I don't know, decade, 15 years covering the league, KOC has proven to have sources in the league, right? This is a reasonable reporter reporting just a reasonable thing. That is not particularly sensational. But the second, like, very believable, right? This is very believable. It's very believable, one, because this is like the flavor of player the Blazers have pursued. Maybe someone who was well regarded as a prep was well regarded as a draft prospect, didn't work out in a certain spot, and said, "Yeah, let's run it back. Let's see, let's see if like sort of a second draft type of buy low on Matisse Thybulle could work out, right? Like that has been maybe not like with every single one of their moves, but I think that is." Kuminga is not like too dissimilar. He's like an athletic wing with some scoring tools, right? Like he isn't that far off what players they have pursued. That part checks out. The second part reads a little bit more just straight up speculation based on the premise of the story. And I'll read it again. Hypothetically, Portland has Jeremy Grant or Drew Holiday to realistically offer in a trade. I mean, it includes the word hypothetically anyways. That part is not reporting. So what I want you to separate here, dear reader and listener, in your case, or viewer, I guess, on YouTube, but I call you all listeners. You're all listeners to me. You're within the sound of my voice. What I want you to parse here is like it includes the word hypothetically, and also like this. The first part is straightforward reporting. The second part is like, well, how does a deal even make sense? What would the Warriors want based on the premise of the article? And the premise of the article is they want to get better. And Jeremy Grant, Drew Holiday are like veterans that help you get better. Let's talk about what a trade would look like. I think it's realistic, like in the sort of broad strokes. I don't really love Kuminga on the Blazers for a variety of reasons. He's not a great shooter, not a terrible shooter. He's not awful. He's just not a good shooter. He's like a ball in your hands type of slashing scorer, and he's shown some varying levels to do that. He has the tools to be a good defender, but really hasn't ever been one of those. And he is not this like connective, really high level role player. I think like he views himself as an on-ball creator, offensive scorer type, like primary guy on offense. And his probably best role in the league is this sort of like garbagey role player, right? Like get putback buckets, attack the second side off of, because you're not going to be in the primary action, get steals, get rebounds, like use your athleticism for like be a hustle guy. I don't think Kuminga views himself as such, and maybe a change of scenery would help him change things. Goodness gracious knows he needs to get out of Golden State. That is a toxic relationship. They've just been not playing him. I'm rooting, not necessarily I don't love Kuminga on the Blazers, but I am rooting heavily for Jonathan Kuminga to play on another team in February because I just like get him out of a toxic work environment. Is he going to magically make him excellent? I don't know. but like I think anything for him would be better than what Golden State, where he just like watches for the Warriors. Like it's just like not part of the plan in any meaningful way, and clearly was signed to a contract specifically to make him tradable. So what would a Kuminga and what would a Kuminga to Portland trade look like? If it's a straight across trade, there aren't a lot of really deals that I love. And I'm not going to worry about draft picks and who would give whom to whom. Let's just assume that all of these deals I'm about to pitch to you are straight up player for player deals. They probably wouldn't be, right? But let's just assume they are for the sake of like not arguing about what value is where. Let's just talk about the money and what is a reasonable ask on both sides, because the money isn't super easy. The Warriors cannot take back a single dollar more than they send out because of the apron rules and their restrictions. They're also hard capped at the second apron, so they can't take back a ton of money, right? They have to, there is a level of money that they can go up to, and they cannot take back any more money than they send out. So, what I was sort of hoping to craft together on my preferred trade machine is like some sort of deal that did not involve Jeremy Grant and Drew Holiday, because that's only hypothetical, and I'm operating the land of the hypothetical too. So why not Matisse Thybulle and Rob Williams, two Blazers expiring contracts? And I think Tease, to some extent, could really be helpful to the Warriors because you get another defender and a playmaker and an athlete. And Rob seems to be, he would be really useful to them as a rim runner. And like, just because I think he's better than Trace Jackson Davis. I think he's better than Quentin Post, albeit very, very different. But like, he's probably better than Al Horford right now. Although Horford is, again, a very different player than Rob, and Rob's, I guess, availability limitations would maybe choose your own adventure on that particular evaluation. But for my money, I think he's better than Horford has been this season. But it's hard to make the Matisse Thybulle, Rob Williams math work easily straight across in a 1-to-1, like 2-team trade between Golden State and Portland. That there just isn't a lot of useful salary matching that you can get it done when involves Kuminga and those two. So it probably is Jeremy Grant or Drew Holiday to make the math work. Jeremy Grant and Ryan Rupert for Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody works money-wise, but I'm not sure it's an ideal trade for either team. Moody is a decent shooter who doesn't do a ton else. I think he has, he's like an okay defensive player, but not a particularly good one. Not much of a playmaker. Like he's fine. He's like a good shooter, but not a great one. Like I think he's a NBA player, role player, like for sure, but he's not. It's not a game changing by any means. And Kuminga, like you're trying to get him to fit in. But Jeremy Roops for Kuminga and Moses Moody, I think you talk about it. I'm not sure I like that particular trade, but I think you talk about it. And that same deal, if you just plug in Drew Holiday and Ryan Rupert for Kuminga and Moody also works as well. The math doesn't work with Buddy Hield. It doesn't work with the minimum guys on the Blazers roster, because you need to get up to, because Kuminga makes about 21 and Jeremy and Drew make about 32. You need to get up to that money. It's not easy to craft a straight across trade, but a multi-team trade could probably get it done. Here's what I think real quick. Jeremy Grant playing much better this season makes him more tradable, not less. And at some point, the Blazers have to, they'll probably have to make trades, right? They probably have to trade these players and move off of these players, even helpful players, to get other players, because you just have to, they probably need a little more flexibility moving forward in terms of money, because Jeremy Grant's owed money in each of the next 2 seasons, so they could use it. They don't necessarily need it desperately, but it would be more valuable. And, you just don't build forward with the same group forever, set it and forget it. Like there is an opportunity cost at not making deals. I don't love either of these trades. I'm not really in favor of either of them, but I think at least the basic logic is sort of there. But I think importantly, the reporting from Kevin O'Connor is not that the Blazers are deeply interested, it's that they have been linked to at least interest in Kuminga, and the trades that make the most sense are for their big money veterans that could help the Warriors. I think Jeremy helps the Warriors probably more than Drew. I think, I wouldn't necessarily be banging down the door to make this happen. I don't think I like it, period, for the Blazers. But at least it kind of passes a sort of basic, I get why they would have this conversation type of test, because the Blazers at some point have to take risks to get better, and Kuminga has a team option for next year, and he has a lot more financial flexibility with him moving forward than you do with Jeremy Grant. Although, it's always a balance with that type of thing. Okay, I've got some fun stats for you. How about Deni Avdija taking shots he's never taken before, and Caleb Love taking shots no one has ever taken before? Join me in the second segment. We will talk about just that. First, though, let's talk FanDuel. Fridays already feel different. You know that Friday feeling. You know that Friday feeling during basketball season where you're going to sit down and watch some NBA games. Well, FanDuel is making them even better, because every Friday night before the games tip off across the league, FanDuel is giving fans a new way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. It's your official pregame, a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. So Fridays from 6 to 7:30 Eastern, that is 3 to 4:30 Pacific time, they're appointment viewing with NBA Happy Hour. You open that FanDuel app during the happy hour, you're going to find something new. You're going to find boosts. You're going to find bonuses. You're going to find surprises. You can check those weekly specials before tip-off, and then make sure you get on the FanDuel app before that window closes, during that window, to make your picks. Listen, it's right before the game start. It's right before the weekend start. It's fun time. So before tip-off, check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour on Friday from 6 to 7:30 Eastern, or 3 to 4:30 Pacific. A little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour, only on FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. All right. So enough hypothetical trade talk, breaking down your sort of media literacy and the sort of basics of a trade. I went digging deep into the I don't know, not that deep. I don't want to brag. I went digging moderately deep into the sort of stats that interest me. I saw something pop up about Caleb Love and where he ranks among rookies and 3-pointers made and blah, 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 blah. And like, let's be clear. Caleb Love over the last 8 games has been hooping. The Blazers are playing their best basketball. They've won 5 of 6. And even if you go back a little bit before that, include a couple more losses in there, right? Over the last 8 games, Caleb Love is just a straight up useful, helpful NBA player. I don't think you can spin it any other way. During that stretch, he's averaging 16.9 points, 2.9 boards, and 2.5 assists. He's shooting 48.5% from the floor, including 42% from 3 and 67% from the free throw line. I'm sure he got a call from his mother when he missed 3 of 4 free throws at the end of that game against San Antonio. He said that if he missed free throws, his mom would call him. I bet his phone rang. According to Caleb, his mom stays up late and watches the games, and she will let him know if he is struggling. So in light of, I guess in light of something I saw on Reddit and Caleb Love playing well in the last 2 weeks, I was curious about Love's just sort of like, I guess it's his sort of general role. Because, if he's leading all two-way guys and this and that, and it's like what strikes me is actually that Caleb Love is playing a unique role. How many two-way guys are getting this opportunity? I mean, there's players across the league, and Denver's, starting a two-way guy. Kobe Sanders and with the Clippers is going to get an NBA contract. There's this. Teams have success every year with two-way players. It's an important contract to take stabs at, see if you get it right, and if you do get it right, it can be really useful for teams, right? So I wouldn't say that Love is deeply unique, but what Love has done this year pretty much is unprecedented in league history. I'm going to bring up a little graphic for you, courtesy of Basketball Reference, if you're watching on YouTube, and I'll walk you through it if you are an audio listener, which I know many of you are. So Caleb Love, in this season, has through 29 games played, has taken 172 3-point attempts. Since the NBA started since the 1968 season, since the NBA has data back to 3-point attempts, there have been 13 players who have begun their career taking at least 172 3-point attempts. Caleb Love, 172 in 29 games. The other names on that list: Cade Cunningham, Jalen Green, Lauri Markkanen, Damian Lamont, Ollie Lillard Sr., Kendrick Nunn, Luka Doncic, Con Knippel, Allen Iverson, Keegan Murray, or as they say in Sacramento, Keegan Murray, Yegor Demon in Brooklyn, Donovan Mitchell, and Jordan Hawkins in New Orleans. But why I say this is unprecedented, because among the guys on the list, there are 13 names there who've in their first 29 games who attempted at least 172 3-pointers. Every single one of them, save for Kendrick Nunn, is a lottery pick. A highly invested player. A lottery pick. Jordan Hawkins was drafted 14th, but most of those guys are top 10 picks. Deeply invested, teams deeply invested in you getting the ball in your hands and proving what you can do. Everyone is a lottery pick save for Kendrick Nunn, who's an undrafted free agent, not dissimilar from Caleb Love. And everyone on that list, I'll bring it up for you one more time. Everyone on that list started at least 21 games. Started at least 21 of their first 29 games, save for Jordan Hawkins, who started 9 of his first 29 games. But even Hawkins, who came off the bench for 20 of those games, still played 85 more minutes than Caleb Love over his first 29 games. That's a lot. That's not a small number. 85 more minutes across 29 games. What Caleb Love has done in terms of role and volume is unprecedented in the league in terms of, organizational commitment. He's on a 2-way contract. And in terms of, role on the team, he has not started. He's not the starting point guard by any means. He's coming off the bench. It is largely unprecedented in the history of the league. And certainly his first 20 games of the season were not good. And he struggled, and the volume was like this kind of somewhat notable, like, boy, does he shoot a lot, right? And the large sample still suggests that he's not a very good shooter. But over the last 8 games, the volume hasn't really ticked down too much, and he's starting to make shots. And this is all to say is that I don't think we've ever seen a start to a career quite like Caleb Love's. Truly unique. I don't think any player in the history of the league has ever had a light as green as Love, an opportunity like Love, based on where they were drafted, or in his case, where they weren't drafted, which was anywhere in the draft. No player in league history has ever had a role like this. In terms of what Caleb Love is doing to start his NBA career. Truly unique. And over the last 2 weeks, truly helpful as well. But that was notable when diving into it. It's like an unprecedented start to his career for Caleb Love. Okay, let's talk about Donovan Clingan. Going back up with it, no more Rodmans, and where Deni Avdija is shooting from. We will do that to close the show. Join me in the third segment, won't ya? Before we do that, though, I want to tell you that today's program is brought to you by Rocket Money. Let's be real. Managing your finances can feel overwhelming. Between subscriptions you forgot about, bills that keep going up, and trying to figure out where all your money actually goes each month, it's easy to feel like you're losing control. And who has time to track every transaction and hunt down hidden fees? That's where Rocket Money comes in, the personal finance app that helps you take control. It finds and cancels unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Rocket Money, once you sign up for it and get your accounts linked, it's going to quickly find all of your digital subscriptions. You might be paying for something twice. You might be paying for someone else's. You might find that there's something you've been paying for that you just haven't used. You can quickly cancel it, and Rocket Money will even work to get your money back. They really help you. Plus, it organizes all your transactions so you can see all your spending in a well-organized place. It's a game changer to just categorize where your money is going so you can see month by month how you are spending it. Let Rocket Money help you reach your financial goals faster. Join at rocketmoney.com/lockedon. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon. Today's program is also brought to you by PrizePicks. Whether you're starting a new routine or jumping into player projections for the first time, trying something new can feel like a challenge, but with PrizePicks, that challenge can feel good because they'll make you feel good to be right. With high-pressure football matchups every weekend, elite hoops action almost every night, this action, the sports, they never slow down, and PrizePicks lets you stay on top of it. PrizePicks is the daily fantasy app that makes watching sports even more exciting by letting you build lineups based on player projections. No drafts, no waiting, just more or less, and play your way. Getting started on PrizePicks, quick, simple. The app's super easy to navigate. You just pick more or less on at least 2 player projections, and you're ready to ride. Plus, they got flex play, where even if one of the players in your lineup doesn't hit their more or less projection that you chose, you can still get paid. So download the PrizePicks app today and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. All right, still past first point guard. I'm still Mike Richmond. You are still listening to Locked On Blazers. If you do make this show your first listen every day, if you truly are an everydayer, you listen to 5 of these a week, Make it official. Join the Locked On Everydayer Club. You get an ad-free feed for this very show. And plus, you get access to the members-only Discord where you can chat with me and your fellow Blazers fans. Plus, some more bonuses if you become an everydayer. If you're part of the club, you get some more bonuses. It's $5 a month. Or $50 a year, and you can sign up at lockedonblazers.supercast.com or check the link in the show notes. Okay, I got some more stats for you. I had mentioned in a previous episode that I had kind of started to track fairly closely that like it felt like Donovan Clingan was just like going back up with the ball more. And it was I mentioned that a listener Scott had sent me an email. I was like, hey, you got to start tracking Rodmans for Clingan. That's when he gets the ball and doesn't even look at the rim. He just like grabs an offensive rebound and looks to kick it out. He has no interest in shooting. Got to track Rodmans. And basically, as soon as that the Rodmans email came through, shout out to Scott. I said, all right, I'm gonna keep track of it. And Clingan stopped Rodmaning so hard. He started going back up with it. So I went to find how true that was, because I'm just watching with my eyeballs, right? I'm not like hand tracking it in the arena. I'm not lying to you like that. Like I'm watching the games and using, I'm thinking, but I'm not charting it necessarily. But so I went to, I guess these numbers are courtesy of me, but via Synergy. Synergy doesn't track it the way I wanted to. So I had to put a little handy dandy chart together. But so Donovan Clingan, I tracked his offensive rebounds and his putback chances to see how often on offensive rebound he was going back up with the ball and how often he was scoring. And in November, it really took a turn. Well, his offensive rebounding was awesome. He's grabbing over 4 a game on offensive rebounds. He was basically his putback rate was about, he's going up about half the time, 0.58, so putbacks per offensive rebound, right? And his efficiency, he was also missing layups. It was points per possession, 1.02 or 1.03 if you're rounding up, right? But I think the numbers don't matter as much. What matters is the change. So that was November across 13 games. And 11 games in December, he started going back up with the ball more. His frequency of putbacks per offensive rebound jumped, a tenth of a point, from 0.58 to 0.67. But that's a significant, you could call that a 20% increase in frequency. Plus, the efficiency made a huge jump from less than 1.1 points per possession to 1.25 points per possession. He got way more. He was going up way more often, and he was finishing way more often. I only played 3 games in January, so I don't think that is necessarily meaningful yet, but certainly I will track it for the rest of the year. Like what you've noticed from Clingan, I think, like if you watch, is that he's just splashing threes. But really what changed was that in November, he was taking like 3 a game, and over the last month, including some of these January games, it's down to about 2 a game. That's a 33% decrease. Like he's been much more judicious about taking the right 3-pointers. And because he's taking the right 3-pointers, not kind of just like, how am I going to score? He's cashing them in. Also, he's probably he's hot shooting. Like he's just really shooting well, but it's really, he's like lowered the volume significantly on 3-point attempts when he was kind of just like, this is the way I'm going to score in November. And he's just become a lot more aggressive going back up with the ball and a lot more efficient going back up with the ball. For me, the 3-pointers are nice, but the thing that feels like is like the sustainable special part of Clingan's game is the putback stuff. He's an elite rebounder. He's been an elite rebounder his whole career. He's been an elite rebounder in college. He's was as a freshman in college, as a backup guy at UConn in the national championship team, he was grabbing more rebounds per minute than anyone in the nation, right? He was just a monster on the glass. He was an elite offensive rebounder last year. He's an elite offensive rebounder this year. That travels with him, and turning those offensive rebounds into points for himself, and being aggressive and getting to the line. And those points per possession include when you get fouled and get free throws. That's why Synergy is such a good site to use for this type of thing. It is tracking all your points. Clingan's just that, to me, that's the change in Clingan's game that has been really special. I've mentioned it in the past, but there's the numbers to know. It really big uptick, like a 20% increase in frequency in December and a massive jump in efficiency to go with that increased frequency. He's going back up with the ball. Way to go, DC. Okay, another thing that came to my mind when preparing for this was Deni Avdija's taking mid-range jumpers. It's not a lot, but it is a huge number relative to what he took in the past. All of last season, this is according to Basketball Reference. Deni Avdija took 23 total 2-pointers from 16 feet to the 3-point line in 72 games. 23. This season, through 37 games, he's taken 20. That's a big jump. NBA.com has it broken down from restricted area, like shots at the rim, that's inside the charge circle. Non-restricted area paint twos, like in the paint, but non-restricted area twos. Middies and then threes, and they have it right corner, left corner, and top of the key. And NBA.com has Deni he took 33 middies all of last season, and then 30 this season. This is not a massive number, right? Like this is less than 1 a game. 30 mid-range jumpers in 37 games. This is not someone who has unlocked this like crazy new arsenal. But if Deni is going to get to the best version of himself, the comfort taking pull-up jumpers when you can't get all the way to the rim is a huge part of what's going to unlock him. And I really only mean that in late clock situations. I don't think he needs to do it at any other point, but up against the shot clock, being comfortable taking a 19-footer because you can't get all the way to the rim, or at the end of games when teams really wall off the paint and everyone in the world knows you're going to shoot, having comfort taking those, 17-footers, those are superstar shots. And Deni Avdija has played like a freaking superstar this year. Like 25, 7, and 7 is big time stuff, and adding this to his arsenal is a game changer. I wouldn't say that it's it is a major change, but it isn't a major weapon yet. But changes start small. These are incremental things, and I think so far incrementally we've seen Deni be a lot more comfortable and taking that shot. That's not what he wants to do. He wants to barge past you and get to the rim. And during this research, I stumbled across the incredible Deni Avdija shot chart that I'm pulling up here on the YouTube channel if you are watching with me. Deni Avdija is going right. That's what this says. Like, I think if you're watching this, like, there are 3 sections of this 32-sectioned court from Synergy. 32 small sections on a half-court spot where Deni is, where Deni takes his shots, and 3 of those sections are white, which means they are 0 total attempts. That is left, just going left, right next to the elbow, going left like the short corner before you get to the three-point line, and going left the sort of deeper 2-point corner before you get to the 3-point line. My man is going right. The way Synergy tracks it, all drives that are like drive left is just any drive where you start dribbling left and then get back to your right. So I don't love using those numbers for like the way Deni drives. I think it's easier to watch it. I have to watch all of his drives and chart it myself to where what I would consider actually going left. But looking at his shot chart and thinking about this mid-range stuff, it's like this is the antidote to some ways to not feeling like a strong left-hand driver. As you head left, or if teams sit on your right hand like they are with Deni, that comfort in just finding a little mid-range jumper going left, being able to pull up going left, that's the game changer. If you can't get all the way to the rim, or if they're really, really forcing you there and sending help, this combination is dude is averaging 25 a game and doesn't want to go left. I don't think it matters that much. He's a monster. But if you're talking about the next levels for Deni, right? Like, how do you continue to add to your game? Because I don't really think he's added like crazy things to his game this year. I think he has sharpened, it's like he's shooting more threes and making more threes. By the end of last year, he was taking threes off the dribble, right? But he's just sharpened those things really well. He's always been a good passer. I think he's taken that to another level. He's been such a good driver. He's taken that to another level. This is the mid-range stuff is the antidote to not having like, what if you never become a strong left-hand driver? What if they always can sit on your strong hand and force you left? Well, look, a little bit more comfort taking these 15, 17-footers, that's the game changer. Those are your stats. An unprecedented Caleb Love shooting, Donovan Clingan going back up with confidence, and Deni Avdija finding his mid-range shot because he ain't going left. Come back for tomorrow's show. Blazers play the Rockets. I will recap everything that happens and give you some scenes from inside the arena, as well as what we do 5 days a week, wherever you get podcasts, also on YouTube. I appreciate you listening. Go join the Everydayer Club. If you made it this far in the show and you do listen to this podcast regularly on audio, ad-free, uninterrupted version of this of the audio of this podcast, plus access to the Discord, check the link in the show notes, and then tell your friends about the program. I appreciate you listening. I will talk to you soon.